Dream Team, it's your boy Neal back with another reaction video, guys. Here we are with memes about Australians part 1. We're going to break this video into 2 different parts. Before we dive in, make sure you guys subscribe, ring notification bell, give the video a thumbs up so it gets suggested. What we got?
Australia. Geologist beaten up by angriest octopus on beach.
That
Meanwhile,
sound like
in
Australia.
road subject to melting. Wouldn't this like burn your foot? How?
Yes, bro. This is all freaking sandal. It's the road now. It is a part of the road. Craziness.
About no? Is this a Halloween decoration or a picture of a house in Australia? My friend just went out for dinner and this guy turned up at the window like he had a reservation. A rare image of an American and an Australian in a public restroom at the same time. Not all animals in Australia will kill you. Don't get me wrong, he wants to, he just can't. Australian women's national team loses 7-0 to a team of 15-year-old boys. A possum broke into an Australian bakery and ate so many pastries it couldn't move. This is how they found him. I live for this post.
He couldn't even escape, bro. He just like, you got me. Do what you will. I can't move. I've tried. I can't move.
What you must, for I've already won. Australian's Prime Minister says he didn't poop his pants at McDonald's in 1997. 100% chance this guy pooped his pants at McDonald's in 1997. Cow caught casually eating snake in outback Australia. I am confused as to how the food chain works in Australia. Humans sharing a meal. I thought this was a new spider from Australia. Save the animals in Australia. The animals in Australia.
Facts.
Yeah, very funny. Let's all laugh at Australia for having all the deadly animals. 2 of those aren't even real, dummies. Huh? Australians have found this site, man. It really is over.
My God.
In Australia, we don't lock our doors because we are scared of armed intruders. We lock our doors to keep the roos out. A rampaging Australian pig drank 18 beers and got in a fight with a cow, punching sharks, now declared...
He drank 18 beers and got in a fight with the cat.
Australia's national sport.
Jesus.
This really reassures me about my upcoming Australia work trip. Australia is beautiful. See a hawk literally throw a snake at an innocent family. 1 week in Australia. My brother just helped a kookaburra that was getting beaten up by magpies and now it's chilling in his car. Are these people in Australia? No. This guy really flew here all the way from Australia. Why do so many people think spiders are evil and out to get you? Look at this nerd run away in an overly dramatic cartoonish way because something touched its butt. Spot the Australian. Never forget that Australians' first ever Winter Olympics gold was won because the guy was coming dead last and everyone in front of him fell over.
Hey, sometimes it's better to be lucky than good, y'all. Sometimes you can be as great as you want, but hey, sometimes that guy with a little bit of luck on his side bulls it out.
National hero. A golden retriever in Australia brought home a baby koala bear she saved from the bushfires. Americans, we need guns to defend ourselves. Australia. Melbourne man fights off carjacker with Nescafe Blend 43 jar. Flat earthers claim Australia doesn't exist, and people who live there are paid by NASA. But if it doesn't exist, how are they paid to live there? Sometimes I get mad at Australian stereotypes, but then I remember that my own backyard looks like this. Having an Australian accent is like being sent to prison for a crime I didn't commit. Being Australian is because of a crime you didn't commit. Wallabies.
I do love an Australian accent though. Shout out, I love an Australian accent. So cool.
Moving along Sydney Harbour Bridge. Surprising motorists. The Mediterranean Sea fits perfectly inside Australia. Australia, do this. If this happened, it would drown at least 5 people. Australians be like, gonna be a bit late today, mate. Kangaroo gets more bounce than he bargained for on a trampoline. My head hurts from laughing at this so hard. Sydney Storm, non-Australian. I got hit by a hailstone. Gosh, it hurts. Australian. Oh yeah, the spikes are brutal. Non-Australian. The what now? The fact that high is the second lowest option says a lot about Australia. The most dangerous flightless bird in Australia is sitting under a beach umbrella, stealing grapes. Are you going to tell what's basically a dinosaur that it can't have your grapes or beach spot? Because I'm not English.
That's his grapes. I'll be like, that's your grapes, that's your beach spot now. We will find somewhere else to sit. You enjoy the grapes.
Summer. It's so hot, I'm melting. 28 degrees. Australian summer. It's a little hot today. 40 degrees. I mean,
You guys acclimatized to it, and also our houses are made differently.
Aussie wife is slammed for packing her husband's lunch. Stop treating him like a child.
That's
Your wife
crazy.
back your lunch? Yes. Quick, the Australians are asleep. Post pictures of normal outdoor animals. I love how Christmas time, everyone in the UK, Europe, and US is blogging about snow and fireplaces and keeping warm.
Yes.
While here in Australia, we're just, the hunt is
Sorry.
on for the culprit who stole a giant 10-meter high mango at this place in Queensland overnight. Australian news. Where did the man go? Thousands of people plan to attend a barbecue in front of the home of a vegan Australian woman who
Oh
took her
my
neighbors
God.
to court over the smell of meat cooking in their own backyard. How
Hey, that's, you know what I'm saying? You're not finna take your neighbor to court. That's un-Australian. That's unhuman. Like, dang, we know you vegan, but he can't cook meat in his backyard. Nah, yeah, 1,000 people gathered for the barbecue, as they should. You can't take them all to court, can you?
How do Australians reproduce? We throw a boomerang, and whoever catches it first is our designated mate. I was applying for an Australian citizenship, and the interviewer asked, "Do you have a criminal record?" I said, "No." Is that still required? Oh my god. This is a sea pickle, a blob of pyrosomes that live in the
What
ocean.
the-
This one was caught off the East Australian coast. Record a Snapchat. Australian man patents the hem dog, a hot dog and burger combo. Listening to this
Ooh.
from Australia. That's so sick. Thanks for the support. I didn't say I liked it or it was good. It sounds like crap, idiot. Australia family.
That's dirty. That's so, what a setup, dog. What a freaking setup.
Families live in fear of the huge kangaroo haunting their suburban streets.
That
What
is
is
a big
going on in
kangaroo.
Australia? Australia versus Pluto. I had no idea they had beef. If I was an Australian magpie, would you guys still like me? Answer
No.
me. Australia in films versus Australia in real life. Instagrammer raises $500,000 for Australian bushfires by selling nude pictures for
crazy.
$10. This is probably the best thing an Instagram model has done. Thank you. Australians don't do the deed. Australians mate. I spat out my coffee. Sorry about your coffee, mate. Rescued this little guy today. Not all animals in Australia want to see you die. Footage of an Australian guy fishing from a drone is being investigated by authorities. It's not clear whether using a homemade drone to lift yourself into the air is illegal in Australia.
That's
This
very
man was
interesting.
once in charge of Australia. I found you in my pocket today. Meanwhile, in Australia, today's weather forecast, death. Number plate of a car in Perth, Australia. Made to be read in the mirrors of other cars. Tips for people planning to visit Australia during summer. Don't. What are you thinking? Abort mission, mate.
Tips for people applying to visit Australia this summer. Don't.
Australia accent came from alcoholic slur of early settlers, says expert. I've pretty much never been less surprised by anything. Do you know what to do if you're bitten by a tarantula hawk wasp? Hold on, by a what? Wood moth, native to Australia.
Oh
This is
my
the largest
God.
moth, and upon reaching its maximum weight, it is too heavy to fly. So apparently in
Jesus.
Australia, the dolphins are used to people visiting them. They seem to be missing people and have been coming to shore, bringing coral to people as an offering. We don't deserve them. Missing dinosaur. The Australian news. Is this supposed to be abnormal or something? Can you scratch my back? Yeah, where? Australia. Australia in 1957. The largest crocodile ever found.
That's
King
insane.
of the jungle. Doesn't
That thing was ridiculously giant, dog. That don't make no sense, man.
actually live in a jungle. Queen of Australia doesn't actually live in Australia. What a shot taken from Melbourne, Australia. You can see the whole solar system. Australia feels like a small country stretched around the perimeter of a genuinely impressive quantity of absolutely nothing.
I feel
Do
that.
Eternal Demon Invasion map. Australia is left alone. What the hell? We already live in hell. How Halloween is celebrated in Australia. This is Australia, not America. Screw off with your Halloween, you little... Some roads in Australia are so long and boring. They have trivia signs to keep
serious?
drivers alert. Fatigue zone. Question. Largest living thing on Earth. Answer. Great Barrier Reef. I could never go to Australia because dingoes look like normal dogs, and I couldn't trust myself to not pet them.
True.
What do you mean
True,
these
true.
good boys can kill me? New species of spider. Discovered it in Western Australia today. Australians who
Yeah, was just another cat behind that cat.
can kill me. New species.
Is it 3 cats? I'm confused, genuinely.
of spider discovered it in Western Australia today. Australians who won't unlock their phones could face 10 years in jail. Australians have
God.
accidentally been eating a fish unknown to science. Thank goodness. Usually, it's the other way around. Fish unknown to science is eating Australians. Australian man caught a sea monster with no eyes and a mouthful of sharp teeth. I feel like Australia is where the devil keeps his pets.
100%.
Escaped kangaroo punches officer in the face before being recaptured in Canada. Bro is definitely getting deported back to Australia. Google searches for the word night. Peek at different times of the day for the US and Australia. This is absolutely wild. Like, are they just people who are so confused by the dark they just have to Google it? Or Palocestes penii were a large marsupial that lived in Australia during the Miocene. They were 2.5 meters long and went extinct 11,000 years ago. Probably for the best.
What the F is that? What the? It's so wild, the animals that freaking were on Earth that are extinct. This is crazy.
Oh, hell nah. Got dumped all the extreme rough drafts in Australia. When an Aboriginal Australian girl graduated college in 2016, her grandfather, an Aboriginal elder who lives on a remote island, travelled almost 2,000 miles to attend the ceremony and dance with her.
That's
Rare
so
mutated
awesome.
golden Australian possum is named Pikachu. That is Pikachu. So cute. Australian helicopter owners are dropping thousands of vegetables to feed the wildlife affected by the
love
Australian
that.
bushfires. If you're ever feeling
Absolutely love
down,
that.
just remember that 52,000 Australians have signed a petition to change the Australian currency to dollar reduce Australian problems.
That's a
That
good
is one
point.
buff kangaroo. It's quite interesting how they
Yeah.
can hold their weight in the tail and just kick you. A meteor
Exactly.
that flew over Australia looked awfully familiar to the Death Star laser. All you need to know about Australia is that our most famous restaurant is a hardware store. The whole country of Australia in one day. Australian child walking to school in 1937. Colorized. I just drove around Australia. There are 48 million kangaroos in Australia and 3.4 million inhabitants in Uruguay. So, if the kangaroos decide to invade Uruguay, each Uruguayan will have to fight
Uruguayan.
14 kangaroos. I told my government class about the Great Emu War, and half the class didn't believe me, so we had my government teacher look it up on the projector. Oh my god, only in Australia. Wait, how did the emus win? Have you ever met an emu? There were 2 people against all the emus, and they had an artillery. Do Australians feel love? No, it's too hot to feel anything when our neighbour is the sun. Love is for the weaklings who've never had to walk 10 kilometers to school. Under the burning sun, during drop bear mating season, the only love we know is that which exists between bear and mouth. Vegemite has a chemical in it that destroys the ability to feel
I can
love.
understand
Australian children are fed on a diet of it when they are born so that they will not be affected when their peers die from heat, drop bears, or shark attacks. No,
It also affects the ability to taste anything. Vegemite, not to taste anything, but it just affects your taste buds in a violent way. That's what I'll say.
Australian homes. America as seen by an Australian. Australia as seen by an American. I thought you would have drawn a spider. Australians going to work like the technological advancement we all need. Super schooner glass unveiled in Australia to help you carry 4 beers back to your
That's
table.
so
My
dope.
Australian friend falling into the sky after I break his ground harness.
my God.
America. Our national bird is the eagle. It is a beauty and it symbolizes freedom. India. Our national bird is the peacock because its beautiful colors represent the country and its glory. Australia. Our national bird is emus and we hate them and we lost the war against them to all Australian kids. If you ever feel like you're weak or pathetic, remember, you live in the most dangerous and hostile country where every creature is murderous and deadly. You are automatically more hardcore than any kid in any
Fair
country.
point.
This is
Fair
actually
point.
quite uplifting. Man with a beer in one hand and a hose in the other defends his home from a fire. Australia. Yeah, that's pretty much every summer ever for us. Accurate.
course.
Welcome to Australia, where a fast food restaurant literally made a mirrored reflective seagull-proof packet for their fries, so they don't try to fly down and steal your fries. You think I'm joking? Light, fright, Florida is a godless place. I went there once, got in the ocean, and immediately had to evacuate because a bull shark was swimming right towards me. There was an alligator on the side of the freeway. Drug addicts and men on tractors roam free. Florida is America's Australia.
Good
I grew
point.
up in Florida. Please don't insult Australia. Australia is home to like so many creepy birds. Hunts you down on the back of a cassowary. I just googled, what the hell is this? Is it like an Australian turkey? Can you eat it? Why does its beak open so wide? Its neck skin is so gross. They're like 6 feet tall. You don't eat them. You run away from them in terror.
Exactly.
So they eat you. What the hell is
Exactly.
Australia? Ancient proteins confirm that first Australians, around 50,000 years ago, ate giant melon-sized eggs of around 1.5 kilograms of huge extinct flightless birds. Ancient dinosaur birds. Can I offer you a nice egg in this trying time? Having an Australian accent is like being sent to prison for a crime you didn't commit. Being Australian is because of a crime you didn't commit. Cruel. I was going to say, not everyone, but then I remembered that mum's side came here from an axe murderer, and dad's side some dude stole 7 horses, and that's why I'm Australian. Looks like beautiful early morning frost, right? Well, it's actually spiderwebs in
that's
Australia.
crazy.
I ain't never going to Australia if spiders be running it like this.
Yeah, I swear to
OMG,
God.
I didn't know Google Translate does Australian. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming this evening. Sheilas and gentle joeys, boomerangs, boomerang, 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 shrimp, you jackman.
What the hell? Oh, guys, we gonna go ahead and end part 1 right there. Make sure y'all subscribe, ring notification bell, get a video a thumbs up so it gets suggested. It's your boy Neal, out.